following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your host, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Welcome into Talladega weekend of the Championship Racing Network. As promised, brand new show for myself, Steve West, and my co-host, the resident racing driver, Matt Nicholson. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we're out at Talladega Super Speedway today, but this is a new show, pre-recorded, doing it on Thursday. And that's going to come into play here in just a couple of moments because we're going to have a running theme throughout this show. But before we get to that, as we always do, once again, thanks to our producers. AJ happens to be in the studio this weekend since John Bird is out. Producer John on CRN Live on YouTube. We appreciate him as well. Let's look at what happened on the racetrack last week. And, when it came to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, as the race was coming towards the checkered flag last Saturday evening in Kansas to settle everything out, kind of a battle between two drivers who had one career series win. See who was going to get their second. It was between Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed. They battled it out over the final 95-lap green flag run. Gray was the one hoisting the trophy in victory lane when all was said and done. I wouldn't feel too bad for Creed, however. Turns out his second place finish netted him the $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus because he was the top finisher of the qualifiers from the previous race. So not a bad little consolation prize.
No, he definitely walked away the winner, in my opinion.
Gray gets the win, his second win of his O'Reilly Auto Parts Series career. Creed in second. He's familiar with that. Justin Allgaier third, Jesse Love fourth. Brent Cruz continues to impress. He placed fifth. Moonlighter William Byron in sixth, followed by another Moonlighter in Cole Custer. Brandon Jones, Sam Mayer, Ryan Sieg. Here's that odd situation that we've been talking about for a while again. You got Cole Custer in there. You've got Sam Mayer in there. Sheldon Creed finishing second. This is the Haas factory team here. All three of their cars finishing inside the top 10. They really have good cars there, and we know that they've got good rep preparation. Even though they switched from Ford to Chevrolet, they know how to prepare this series of car. What the heck is going on, and what's the difference between that and the Cup Series?
You know, I've thought about that same thing myself. You can be so good in one series, but barely breaking back marker in the other one. And, you know, it goes to, honestly, it goes to prove that how good they are prepping their O'Reilly Auto Parts cars when you can take a SS Greenlight car that is technically an SS Greenlight entry, prep it, and Cole Custer take it to a top 10.
Yeah.
That says a lot, but it just honestly, it goes to show of, in my opinion, just how these Cup cars are supposed to be equal and how they're supposed to be equally done and prepared.
They're not.
They're not even close.
Nowhere near it.
Not even close.
So your points rundown is this way. Justin Allgaier holds the points lead by a significant margin, 131 up on Sheldon Creed. Then you got Jesse Love, Corey Day. Corey Day's not doing too bad, despite the fact that we don't talk about him a whole lot in the top 10. He's just consistently racking up top 20s, top 15s.
Yep.
Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, Carson Kvapil, Austin Hill, Taylor Gray, William Sawalich, Parker Retzlaff, and then Rajah Caruth is just inside the top 12. That would be your chase runners if it were to start this weekend. It doesn't. And Ryan Sieg is thanking his lucky stars for that because he's on the outside looking in, trailing by 25 points.
Yep.
Sunday kicked off in Kansas with the Cup Series running. Initially, it appeared as though while the laps were winding down, it was going to be Denny Hamlin about to cruise to his second win of the year. But Cody Ware's tires weren't going to hold up, and when he spun out late because of a flat, brought out a caution, that and a bad restart, killed the 11 car's chances. It kind of seemed like this was a bit of a replay of the championship race at Phoenix last fall. Something about that restart and Denny Hamlin not getting that 11 car to hook up properly.
To me, that seems like to me, when you get them, when you're going through the gears and you're breaking tires in certain gears, coming up through there, that's really not a mechanical setup problem. That's not a tire problem being tires. That is how you have your gearing in the car done.
Okay.
Because say, I'm going to just throw a number here, and it can be way different. Say if they're restarting in second gear, and you're going to third, going to fourth, going to fifth. If I'm the control car and you're on my outside, you're in a Chevrolet, I'm in a Toyota, okay? If, say the way your group has got your transmission set up, your second to third gear ratio. If your second gear ratio is, say it's a 488.
Okay.
All right. And if my second gear ratio is a 507.
Okay.
I'm just throwing numbers, spitballing numbers here.
Sure.
Because it can range that way. I'm going to run a higher risk of breaking the tires loose because my second gear to third gear ratio is higher than yours. So my RPMs are going to be higher.
Okay.
You've got a better chance of keeping your rear wheels locked to the ground versus me.
Okay.
So I'm going to be breaking the tires loose more. It's all about you can tell, I mean, even all the way down from Cup, O'Reilly, even all the way down to trucks and even ARCA, you can tell who's got the gearing in their transmission from respective gear to gear and how it's done of who is too high and who is too low. Because the cars that are too high, 9 times out of 10, that's the ones you're seeing breaking the tires on the start.
Okay.
And it won't be hooking up.
It is interesting to think, though, that you're talking about the man who took over and took control, who has been in control really for the first, this season so far, for all intents and purposes. His car is built by and, for the most part, prepared by Joe Gibbs Racing, and that's Tyler Reddick. Reddick takes over. He was able to jump up. He gets the win. Kyle Larson second. Chase Briscoe actually jumps up and claims third, relegating Denny Hamlin to fourth. Denny Hamlin complained afterward that Cody Ware is out there running 6 laps down on those really old tires. Does he have a legitimate complaint? And I ask this question because here's the thing. Denny Hamlin has benefited from this situation in reverse. And I want to say it was about a decade ago or so, maybe. And I want to say it might have been at Darlington, if my memory serves me correctly, where late in the race there was a spin out and Denny Hamlin was able to come down and he wasn't challenging for the win, but it closed up the field. He got a good restart and he got the win.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was Darlington. And
it might not be a decade ago. The numbers escape me, but, like Kyle Larson, I think, was the guy who was having so many problems.
I think so.
So this might have actually only been just within the past couple of years. But Denny Hamlin has benefited from this exact same situation. So you can complain about it all you want, but even though this happened to you on a bad side, if you race long enough, it's going to benefit you too.
Yeah, you're going to be, like you said, if you race long enough, it's going to benefit you, and in some ways, it's going to backfire on you. It's going to hit you both ways. But I was listening to a clip off of Door Bumper Clear that's on Dirty Mo Media, and Tommy Baldwin's on there with them now this year. Tommy Baldwin being the competition director for Rick Ware. Mm-hmm. Tommy Baldwin admitted, he said, that's my fault. I've got to own it. Because I was helping influence the decision, leave him out. And
they were just trying to get to the end of the race.
They were trying to get to the end of the race.
Gotcha.
And the tires, I think you said, were like 67 laps on the tires. And when they come in, the tires were corded.
That's a lot of laps. I mean, it is. It's a lot of laps.
I mean, if you can't hold on to it, and in-car radio, Cody Ware said, I tagged the wall and I think I got a toe link bent or something. I can't hold on to it. But they were saying leave him out. If I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but if I'm Cody Ware, I'm bringing that car down. I can't hold the car.
Yeah.
Do you want me to junk the car or stay out?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm bringing the car in and getting the car situated to where I'm not tearing up equipment and I'm not impacting the finish of a race.
There you go. Bubba Wallace claimed fifth, trailed by Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, Chris Buescher in the top 10. Reddick already has win number 5 of 9 races run this season so far. And we haven't seen an early season domination like this in almost 40 years. The last guy to do something like this, Dale Earnhardt, claimed 6 wins of the first 9 races back in 1987.
Yep.
This is unreal. Reddick leads Hamlin by 105 points. Ryan Blaney's third. Ty Gibbs, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, and things start to change here a little bit as we start to get in from 10 to 16, where you're looking at the guys like Carson Hocevar, Ryan Preece, Joey Logano. I'm missing Chase Briscoe, I apologize, and Daniel Suarez making up the 16 that would make the chase right now. Austin Cindric sits 17th. He's 13 points behind Daniel Suarez, and there's SVG, who was 16th last week by 1 point. Now he's outside and even behind 17th place.
Yeah, he's. I can't figure out what's wrong with Trackhouse. They've fallen off the radar.
Yeah, compared to what they were doing last year.
Yeah, for sure. That they are. It's honestly it's inexplicable of how bad Trackhouse has fell off.
Yeah, to do that from 1 year to the next. But we could also ask the same question of what the heck did 23XI find, because they were Trackhouse last year, and now all of a sudden Tyler Reddick is burning up the whole circuit.
I don't think it's more of what is 23XI find. I think it's more what Toyota's found.
That's probably true too.
Because there's really not a bad running Toyota right now across the whole series.
Let's ask this question as well, because what we do know is that, even though Chevrolet is not building a road Camaro right now, they're promising to bring it back within the next couple of model years. They did make a change to the nose for these NASCAR cars. Does it make that much of a difference, truth be told?
Oh, yeah. It does, because
that have upset the balance of what Trackhouse had a handle on?
Oh, yeah.
And now they just can't seem to grab it.
Because if you stand and you look at them, and what I will attempt to do, if I can get a good clear look at a Ford nose, at the angle pitch of the nose going down versus how the Chevrolet is now, they're eerily similar.
Okay.
And when Ford, not going to say they've been on the map last year or this year, they're really just trying to peek over the fence,
Gotcha.
in my opinion, because there's really only been 2 drivers in Ford that have won any race, any races. Well, excuse me, 3. 3 of the 4 drivers have only won 1 races. That is, excuse me, my math keeps going on. 4. Barry, Cindric, Logano, Ryan Blaney.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney's won the last 5 races for Ford.
Right.
So it's a problem of who's got to figure out what.
Right. Time will tell.
Yep.
IndyCar then took center stage, the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, wrapping up the short weekend slate. And for those that are sick of Alex Palou, sorry, he's not going away anytime too soon. Claimed an almost 4-second win over Felix Rosenqvist for the win Sunday evening. Marked his 11th win the past 22 races and win number 22 in the past 103. It's not bad percentages when you're talking about racing. The number of races that he has, by the way, run since joining Chip Ganassi Racing for the 2021 season. That's, we'll call it 1/5 of all the races run, he's won. And that's a nice percentage, because you don't see that a whole lot in racing.
No, you don't. I mean, simple way to put it, he's out of these 103 races, he's on a tear.
No doubt about it.
Because
Below there, Rosenqvist second, Scott Dixon third. Haven't heard much from him lately. Maybe he's kind of starting to get rolling again here for the 6-time champion.
I'll for the first time in a while on a television broadcast, I watched the whole race start to finish.
Okay.
All of the Ganassi cars seemed to have their stuff together at Long Beach.
I would agree.
They all ran well. I was crossing my fingers, hoping Rosenqvist would pull it out and get it, because he had it stretched far enough at one point that I thought he was going to, but the way the pit cycles were, it just didn't play out in his favor. Wasn't
to be. Kyle Kirkwood 4th, Pato O'Ward 5th, and Scott McLaughlin 6th, followed by David Malukas, Graham Rahal, Alexander Rossi, and Kiffin Simpson making up the top 10. Palou retakes the points lead. He's now at a 205-188 over Kyle Kirkwood. David Malukas 2nd, Pato O'Ward 3rd, Christian Lundgaard making up the top 5 in IndyCar points. Dennis Hauger continues to lead in rookie points, 76 to 59 now over Kyle Collette. Mick Schumacher runs third with 44. And finally, Honda leads Chevrolet in the engine manufacturer standings by a 440 to 355 advantage. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll give you the schedule for this weekend. We will talk about our own CRN Fantasy League that, yes, you can still be a part of. We'll tell you how to sign up, and we'll tell you what the standings are coming up here in a moment, as we have just gotten underway on CRN for this Talladega weekend.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
Sure, he did a great job. Again, we're doing this on Thursday, so what do I know? But yeah, I'm sure he did. Plus, we've got good things coming up. Make sure that you're always on Siluria Brewing pages, social media pages. They always give a great forecast of things that are coming up. There's a facial haircut. The second. So those of you that think you got a really great mustache, you know, like a Ryan Blaney, Wyatt Earp kind of mustache going on, go ahead and enter it. If you got a full beard that looks something like out of ZZ Top, you might want to enter it. Things like that.
Well, I think I'll pass.
I'll
I'll
you don't
pass
have a whole
on
lot
that
of
one.
facial hair
Yep,
going on.
I'm good.
But yeah, you got things like that going on all the time. Plus, you got the always the great craft brews that they've got. They do some wines over there as well some hard ciders. Plus, it's a great place both inside and outside. You can check all the great sports and all the things that are going on there. Danny Sample, Karen, Jill, and everybody over there, they're just great people. Siluria Brewing Company is the place that you want to go check out if you haven't. 145 First Avenue West. That's in Alabaster. Go check them out. I'll be back out there this coming Friday evening, ready to do another slate round of music trivia. Let's see here. What else can we get ourselves into? How about the schedule for this weekend, which, as we noted, it is Talladega, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. It's going to be right here in our backyard for the Ag Pro 300. Mother Nature permitting, set to air on MRN Radio and the CW Network, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Time. ARCA Series will be before that, just to let you know.
11:30 green flag for the Alabama Manufactured Housing 200.
There you go. Sunday's action, fairly limited slate, really only two of the series that we cover. It begins on track anyway in Concord, North Carolina. NHRA running the 4-wide nationals at ZMAX Dragway over by Charlotte Motor Speedway, basically kind of across the street. Finals for the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series get rolling noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time. You're not going to see it on television, however, until Fox Sports 1 decides to get into the coverage at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. Why? I don't know.
Fox probably has some soccer game they'd rather air.
I guess, yeah. Then there's Talladega. They're slated to host the Cup Series for the Jack Links 500, set to air on Fox and MRN Radio, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time. As the weather forecasts have evolved over the course of this week, Sunday's looking much better now. So it looks like we're going to have a really good chance of getting this in.
Even Saturday afternoon's looking better now.
Yeah, and those are the good things. Well, that's what we like to hear.
Yep.
So Formula One, Formula E, IROC, IndyCar, IHRA, all these series that we regularly cover, they're all off this weekend. And then speaking of results, let's go ahead and wrap this up by asking how things are going in the CRN Fantasy League on NASCAR.com.
Well, we will go with the Kansas winner, which was Jack 30.
Okay.
He won Kansas. So the overall standings, Junebug 13's your leader, Trickle 99's at second, Jack 30's in third. That's Stuart Haas Not Racing guys in fourth.
That'd be me, by the way.
Chase B99 is in fifth. Boom Slick is in sixth. I am sitting in seventh. Fire Chef's in eighth. JG3 is in ninth. And Staceman is in 10th. Big Ben 11th. And John Myers is in 12th.
Okay. Did you do what I did when it came to Kansas? Did you overload on Toyota drivers?
I was all 5 Toyota.
I was as well. I think in the garage, I did put Kyle Larson as the one Chevy driver who I thought would do good because he always seems to do really well in Kansas.
Bad part about it is I swapped out. The bad part about it is I swapped out Ty Gibbs for Denny Hamlin.
Oh.
I swapped out Denny Hamlin for Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's still room, by the way, and there's still time because this goes over the course of a 36-race season. So if somebody wants to get in on it, how can they?
It's a NASCAR Fantasy Live on NASCAR.com and put into the league CRN Fantasy Live 2026.
Yep, and the grand prize winner, as long as it's not either Matt or myself. If Matt or myself finishes first, second place will get this. They will get a CRN branded hat and T-shirt.
And if by some stretch of the luck that we end up finishing 1-2, position 3 will get it.
There you go. I'm not counting on it.
Me either.
Let's get into the news here. And NASCAR's John Probst noted on his weekly appearance on the series Hauler Talk podcast that EV crossover that we've seen tested over the past couple of years is still being worked on by the R&D department just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. This was initially kind of a test bed. They wanted to see how viable a stock car-ish kind of EV might be, but Probst is thinking more. But if you've seen this vehicle, you realize this isn't a car, and it's also not a truck. It's not a body from the Craftsman Truck Series.
It's a crossover SUV.
It's a crossover SUV, and we've seen two different body styles. The first one looked a heck of a lot like that Ford Mach-E. I'm sorry, I still can't call it a Mustang.
The first one that I saw looked to me more like a Cadillac SUV.
Yeah, and then there was the one that looked more GM-ish. They have come up with one that actually does have a Chevy Blazer face on it.
Chevy Blazer face, and then I personally saw the Mustang Mach-E one in action at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, so you've seen this thing in action, and you showed me the video of it. And from the video, I can tell this thing is stupidly fast in a straight line. Trying to get that thing to corner is a pain.
Yeah, I mean, and when you've got a veteran like David Reagan that was driving the car at Wilkesboro, and
he's having
having problems with it.
Yeah.
I just want to say this publicly. John Probst, shut your brain off.
Well,
let it be something as a test bed, not something that you want to take up further and you eliminate a series or something just because you want to have an EV.
There's a little more to this, by the way. Now, if NASCAR wants to do a separate EV series, by all means, go ahead and do it. I don't know how popular it's going to be. Probably not. But if you want to do that, go for it. Here's what Probst said. There's certainly a needle to be threaded there along the line of entertainment and sport. Maybe you can go beyond sport and just say pure engineering. I think for us, I feel like we don't need to be on the absolute bleeding edge of powertrain technology to be relevant to our OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, your Fords, your Chevys, your Toyotas, or now, since they're in the truck series, at the very least, the Rams, and also be entertaining to our fans, he concluded. He noted that this could be used in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, saying it could do more to separate the series apart from the Cup series. Noted that the sanctioning body is considering experimenting with hydrogen combustion engines that might see some testing in the next half decade or so. By all means, again, go out there, do all the testing you want, see how viable these things are. But until they are 100% viable, do not put them on the track.
Yeah. The viability as a solo car, you got to have more than 3 cars in a test to show viability.
Sure, I agree.
You got to have way more than 3.
And then we started to get a little more clarification on this because I started reading into it and listening to people, either podcasts or shows, and started to get a little more light on this. In that, before you go thinking that they're going to turn the O'Reilly Auto Parts series into an all-electric series, it doesn't appear to be the case. It appears what they're doing is thinking about less about the actual powertrain and thinking more like the Craftsman Truck Series did. You want to take the most popular selling vehicle in the United States, you make racers out of them. Well, trucks are the most popular vehicles, and they have been now for, 40, 50 years? Ford F-Series has been the top-selling vehicle now going back to the 1970s.
Something like that.
Chevrolet's just been behind them. You drive the big Toyota Tundra. GMC Sierras are good sellers. We've seen the Ram pickup trucks sometimes as high as 3rd best-selling chart. But if you look further into that, you also note that the top 10, even so far as the top 20, littered with SUVs and what they call CUVs. One of those I've got a GMC Terrain. It is a car-based SUV. It's a big station wagon. There's another way to look at it. It's become a popular body style. Is there room? I don't know if there's demand, but let's ask the question: is there room for a series that would have the body style of a crossover, a CUV?
I'm honestly going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. Because
and you wouldn't I'll go to the nth degree here. You wouldn't replace what they're currently running in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series with a CUV body.
No,
vehicle.
because the O'Reilly Auto Parts series is week after week after week is the best on track performing series out of the top 3 series of NASCAR.
No, I can agree with that.
They're the top performing series, so why go messing with something? I'll go even better. Why try to fix something that's not broke?
Because that's what NASCAR does.
And then some.
Yeah.
But I see where they're trying to think about this, because Ford honestly doesn't even think that O'Reilly Auto Parts series exists anymore.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Okay? So they're trying to do something to get more OEMs in there.
And it would. I mean, well, it would become more attractive to them because, let's face it, there isn't a car maker on this planet that doesn't have a CUV.
True. That is true. But there had to be something happen somewhere for Ford to just basically completely give up.
Yeah.
Because when you can look and see Roush Fenway, a former absolute dominating staple in what was then the Busch Series, and the Nationwide.
Team
Penske, where are they at? And Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder could see that Penske's got the ability to put a car on the track.
Sure.
Okay.
Go and look at what the former Stewart Haas Racing turned Haas Factory team did, which was abandon Ford and move to Chevy.
And honestly, I think that from the Cup side of it, they're in worse shape now than they were. But from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series side of it, they're fairly on pace. Fairly on pace. They've won quicker this year than they won last year.
Sure.
But when Ford has to go in and get Chris Hettinger, a Cars Tour late model stock series car owner,
right,
to field a team,
you're hurting.
You're hurting. 1. 2, when it was basically been slipped that the cars they got were hand-me-down Stewart Haas cars.
Yeah.
That
do something with
doesn't make anything any better.
No, it really doesn't.
So, I mean, there's a big question mark with me and Ford right now.
I got you. All right, so you don't. All right, so let's just say that they wanted to start a 4th major touring series, somewhere on the level of the Craftsman Truck Series. Yes, no.
Until, I'll say this, because this is aiming at going down the path of Formula E. It's aiming down that path.
Could be, yeah.
All right, because in a way with FIA, Formula 1's Cup, Formula 2's O'Reilly, Formula 3's trucks.
Sure.
And then it's Formula E. All right. With NASCAR as it stands now, Cup, O'Reilly, trucks, ARCA.
Right.
If you're going to try something like this, and this is my sole opinion, and if you don't like it, go argue with a wall for all I care. If you want to try something like this, make this a sole exhibition series.
Try it for a season.
I'd say try it for 2
seasons,
maybe 3.
Get the feedback from the fans. Get the feedback from the media partners and all that.
Feedback from first off, feedback from your competitors.
Okay.
The people that are sitting in the seat.
Sure.
Feedback from the people in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Feedback from the teams, the overall components of the teams.
Okay.
And get feedback from the media partners.
Okay.
Go with that right there. But you don't start the series unless if it's going to be an actual electric series that you're going to develop and start. Do not start it unless you have a solid 20 entries.
I can follow that.
Don't start it unless you got 20.
Yeah, I can follow that.
Because and yes, I'm scratching my forehead right now because we're not on YouTube Live.
Yeah.
But you can't do it at the expense. God love them, but you can't do it at the expense of ARCA.
Okay.
ARCA has been too much of a long-time staple of a developmental series.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't boot ARCA out of the way to use an electric vehicle series to promote development.
Okay.
You can't do that.
All right. If they were to keep it, and we'll wrap up this segment on this thought, if they were to keep it as just a CUV bodied, but gasoline burning, race fuel burning series. Same opinion, different opinion.
Same.
Okay. Just checking.
Same opinion.
Just checking.
I still can't wrap my mind and picture myself watching a series of cars that look like either SUVs or CUVs on a racetrack.
Understood.
I just can't.
I got you. One more note on the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. The famed Cletus McFarland, who will not be running in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race here at Talladega this weekend because, as we have detailed on this show in the past, he's not cleared to run super speedways in the series just yet. His next chance to get behind the wheel of the number 33 for Richard Childress Racing will be May 30th, Nashville Super Speedway. You say, wait a minute, it's a super speedway. It's shorter than a Talladega by a mile plus.
It's half the size of Talladega.
There you go. His sponsor in that car was the same one that he had at Rockingham, Tommy's Express Car Wash. So I think that's the sponsor through the remainder of his contract.
Yeah, it's the sponsor for the whole contract.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to Formula One. Why are we going O'Reilly to Formula One? We'll explain it when we get back.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Two tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in to the Championship Racing Network on Talladega weekend. As we teased before the break, we're going to switch from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and NASCAR and move over to Formula One. Why? Because, again, this kind of goes back to an idea that producer John had, and I liked it. You take the biggest stories of the week, you put them in order of what you feel the biggest stories of the week are, and it really doesn't matter which series it is. And we tend to treat now the Truck Series, the Cup Series, and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, yes, they're all under the NASCAR banner, but we tend to treat them as different series. So there you go. That's the quick explanation. Now, earlier on this week on the Cross Flags podcast, Matt and I got into this much more in depth. You can go back and say it and check it out. It's available to you on any of the places that we are available, including Spotify. But let's just boil it down in a nutshell. FIA, the Formula One officials, the 11 team principals, the CEOs of each of the engine makers, and there are half dozen of them, all got together on Monday of this week. They came to a conclusion about the changes that are going to be implemented in time for the next F1 race on the schedule, Miami Grand Prix, which will get Formula One back into action after this unexpected month off next weekend. Among the highlights, they're going to drop the amount of energy that can be recovered in an attempt to make the drivers be on the gas longer, they say, limiting the hybrid's top power output, reducing the time spent in recharge mode for a dozen of the races that are remaining on the schedule, although they didn't detail which ones. That number increases from the previously planned 8, by the way. In addition, the maximum amount of power output from the hybrid unit during a race has been dropped in an attempt to keep what happened, for example, to Ollie Behrman from happening again, that sudden closing speed that Behrman had coming around that curve in a ridiculously slow car, and he lost control of it and slammed the wall. Again, we talked about that in detail on the podcast. Now, all of this stuff has to go before the FIA's World Motorsport Council for final approval. That's expected to happen quickly. Usually you have to wait on a decision like this for them to actually get together in France and make the vote. But because they want to get this implemented by next weekend, they're allowing the World Motorsport Council to do it by e-vote so they can do it from wherever the heck they are.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
I think that's the right thing to do. I expect it to be rubber stamped and approved.
I don't see why not.
But I also ask the question, how much is that really going to affect things? What they're doing is just limiting the power of the hybrid. You still have an opportunity to get massive closing speed. If you are trailing me and I'm around a corner and I suddenly have a problem and I have to back way out of the gas, you're still talking about a massive discrepancy in closing speed. It doesn't matter whether the hybrid's in effect or not.
That is true. That's very true. It's going to have to be. It'll have to be. I said it on Cross Flags. I think it needs to be more like Indycar ratio, more like 80-20 instead of 50-50.
Yeah, you and I talked about it during the podcast. Don't really know where they got that 50-50 idea from. Really don't. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't either.
Doesn't make any sense.
I don't either.
Does appear that the F1 teams have been making the most out of this unexpected month off. We took the time right after this month began and said on the Cross Flags podcast, a plan for Cadillac specifically. But for example, the other American-based team, Haas F1, said they've been going through this month and they have been looking at their upgrade schedule, and what they're going to do is they're going to rapid fire the vast majority of these. They're going to front load it in an attempt to get better quicker. Team representatives said, quote, we're actually going through the process at this moment, looking at our next upgrade and how we introduce it. And I would say the complication really stems now from balancing budget against front loading what we have. So while we're in a position where the performance of the car is quite immature, shall we say, and there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, our decision has been to front load as much as we can. We're pushing as hard as we can to bring as much as we can to the car early on. They didn't clarify what upgrades are coming to Miami, but that leads me to believe that the upgrades that you would normally intersperse over the course of the year, they're ready to bring a whole lot of them to Miami.
As they should, in my opinion, as they should.
And then McLaren turned around and got real blunt. Defending Constructors' Cup champs, who are vying for that again, just trailing Mercedes, said that they're bringing a practically brand new car to Miami. Team principal Andrea Stella said this week, quote, it is our intent. There was always the idea to deliver a completely new car, especially from an aerodynamics upgrade point of view, to the North American races. But he added, quote, I would like to stress that this is what I would expect of most of our competitors. Not necessarily going to be a shift in the pecking order, but it's effectively just a check to who has been able to add more performance within the same time frame. A whole brand new car for all intents and purposes? Whew. You want to talk about going and doing a boatload of work.
Yeah, if they're going to be unloading, we can't say unloaded off the lift gate because they don't send them to Miami in a hauler.
No, they don't.
They had to have been doing an awful lot of like sim work and wind tunnel work and everything that they can do if they're going to be bringing a whole brand new car.
The amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. I mean, this isn't a month off. This is them working behind the scenes now without having to worry about making sure that they've got race prepared cars. They've got free reign. We'll concentrate on Miami. Here's your drop dead date. We have to have the car ready by this date so it can be shipped off to Miami. And let's do all the work that we can possibly do to get as many upgrades on this car as possible.
Yep.
Haas F1 was being kind of elusive about the whole thing. McLaren just comes out and says, yep, brand new car.
Yep. I would like to either go to Silverstone where all the shops are, go to Milton Keynes where Red Bull's at, or go to Italy where Ferrari's at and just sit for a day and watch sit in an observation room. And it doesn't have to be glass that sees through. It can be one-way glass and we're just seeing out. See what kind of preparation goes into one of these cars on a daily basis.
God, I can only imagine.
I could just sit there, give me a plenty to something to drink to last me for a long time, and a box of pop. Good Lord, I can't talk today. A bag of popcorn. I'll be as happy as a lark.
There you go. Yep, it'd be a lot of fun. All right, I had mentioned at the top that it is also draft time. And I just kind of washed over it because I wasn't going to concentrate on it. Obviously, we're a racing show. But I did find it interesting that we might be able to do a parallel. Mm-hmm. So the NFL draft starts as we record this tonight. We're recording this on Thursday, as I've mentioned. First round is tonight. Let's just assume, and we'll take it major series by major series. Since we just got done talking Formula One, let's take Formula One. Let's assume nobody's got a contract. And you are in charge of Matt Nicholson Racing. Call the team whatever you want. But you have Matt Nicholson Racing. You have all 22 drivers that are currently in F1 available. If you know of anybody in Formula 2 or Formula 3, by all means, go ahead and pick them. Who's your first round draft choice?
Well, what would be the first pick for, and I'm going off of what my team is on my iRacing team. I call it JBN Autosport.
Okay.
The JBN is the initials of my late son. Okay. If I'm going a first round pick, and I'm not going to throw a curveball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw a knuckle change.
Do it.
I'm not going to pick anybody in Formula One.
Okay.
I'm not picking anybody in Formula 2.
Oh.
I'm going to pick someone in the F1 Academy.
Interesting choice. Okay.
Because everything that I've read, her test went really, 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 really well.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And she showed a lot of speed. My first round F1 pick would be Dorian Penn.
Okay. That's an interesting choice. And you've got a lot to build on there.
Oh,
there's no doubt about
to build
it.
on.
And a lot of people would look at you and go, okay, well, you skipped over Lewis Hamilton. You skipped over Fernando Alonso, both very accomplished drivers. You skipped over Max Verstappen, who's a 4-time champion. And the truth of the matter is I'm going to do the same thing because I honestly don't know how much longer Lewis Hamilton or Alonso are going to race.
Right.
And how much have we heard about the frustration of Max Verstappen? While he's a talented driver, I want somebody who I can build upon long term. And like the NFL draft, in my draft since you use that, I'll use Team CRN. And we'll use this throughout the rest.
Okay.
For Team CRN, I'm going to go a younger driver who, in all honesty, if he gets top flight equipment, I think he would prove to be really, really good behind the wheel. And that guy is currently the young guy at Haas F1. I'm going Ollie Behrman.
I knew you was going Oliver Behrman.
Young dude who is doing much more than what the Haas F1 equipment would generally lead us to believe it is.
Absolutely.
And if he were to get into a top flight, read Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren car, I honestly think he'd be winning races right now.
Yep. If I was to have to go with if I was to go a second round pick, my second round pick is going to be somebody that's got solid experience and he's still young and he's still got a lot of time to build.
Yeah.
Oscar Piastri.
I can't argue that. I can't argue that. He's established himself. He's comfortable, so he could end up getting to the point where he'd be comfortable enough in a mentor role while he's still young enough to the point where you can probably keep him long term.
Yep.
So I didn't think about a second round. I only thought first round, but you might be onto something.
And for a reserve role, I'm going to go someone else is in the F1 Academy that has shown a lot of ability. This won races. She even won a race last year, right here, a couple years ago, right here in our own backyard at Barber.
Yeah.
In a Porsche. Chloe Chambers.
Yeah. Good driver. I'd have to admit, like I said, I only thought first round draft pick. I didn't go so far as that.
I'm filling the whole team out.
Go for it. I love it. Turning our attention to the American-based open wheel series here with a little bit of time that we got left this hour. Indycar officials, and they're investigating something that happened at the Long Beach race last weekend. Just prior to the restart on lap number 61, that push-to-pass system that the Indycar officials have the control over, we'll explain it in a moment, that was left on. The system's manually activated and deactivated by the race control staff, and during caution periods, it is supposed to be turned off. But as it turned out, it wasn't. And a dozen of the 25 drivers noted it and utilized the system to get a little bit of a quicker restart. And you think, well, that's cheating. Yes, but hang on. We'll get back to that. That number, officials said, seemed a little bit low because they've noted that a whole lot of drivers do exactly what Team Penske driver Joseph Newgarden admitted to doing last year or 2 years ago, I guess it was, when this whole thing blew up and they actually penalized Team Penske on this.
2 years, yeah.
Joseph Newgarden admitted he presses the push-to-pass button on every single restart, even if he knows that it's not turned on, just on the off chance that it's on.
Yep.
Everybody's looking for an edge.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you?
That's a gray area.
So the question becomes, are there going to be penalties like there were after the 2024 season opening race at St. Petersburg when the system malfunctioned and both Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin of Team Penske took advantage of it? The independent officiating board, Ray Evernham, former NASCAR championship-winning crew chief, is a big-time member of that, said that the investigation will begin as soon as the transporters from the series return from Long Beach. So by probably, Tuesday, Wednesday morning it began?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. There will be no penalties handed out to the drivers who use the system this time because they're saying it's effectively the official's fault, at least now.
Yep.
Now, the question is, if they find out that it's not the official's fault, do they reverse that, or is that set in stone, and now they've said no penalties, boom, that's it?
Sounds to me like it's set in stone.
Okay.
Because I seen on social media last night, there was talk about it. Kyle Kirkwood put it out publicly on his social media that it was confirmed that nobody from Andretti Global used theirs.
Okay.
And Alexander Rossi confirmed that nobody at ECR did either. That's the only two that's been public that said anything.
If you're in the driver's seat, are you more like, I'll use Alexander Rossi since he was the most recent one that you mentioned. Are you more like Alexander Rossi in the fact that you're not on a restart hitting it, or are you more like Joseph Newgarden and just on the off chance you're pressing that push to pass button?
Because that's such a touch and go thing, I'm going to go with the style of Rossi.
Okay,
Leave my hand off of it.
You're going to tend to keep your finger off of that button.
Yeah, for the off chance, because if it's on at a bad time, I don't want to be the one saying you used it at the wrong time. Well, why is it on?
Right.
When it should be like two laps after a green is taken, then it comes on.
Right.
Why is it on before the 2-lap cushion?
Yeah.
You know.
And again, this is it's on the officials, and it's kind of like being behind the scenes at a radio station. There are things that you do during a commercial break that myself, AJ, John Bird, whoever it is that's over there on the other side of the glass, we all have things that we have to do during the commercial break that you don't see. And one of those things is to turn the push-to-pass system off. I can imagine, though, on occasion, it's easy to overlook that if you got a whole lot of things going on.
I'm sure.
So
sure.
That's that situation. All right, we got to take a break. Hour number one, our own version of Cross Flags in the Air, is we're at the midway point of this edition of CRN, but hour number 2 is on deck.
Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. CRN on Talladega weekend back. Hour number 2 getting underway. Steve West, Matt Nicholson. Thank you to AJ, capably running things on the board, and producer John, who is, as always, taking care of things on CRN Live on YouTube. We appreciate them both. When we left off, we were talking about the officiating board and how they had a problem with the push to pass where it was mistakenly left on for whatever particular purpose. Well, after they made the announcement that no penalties were going to be handed and an investigation began, Penske Entertainment, the owners of IndyCar and the IndyCar Series and Indianapolis Motor Speedway, noted they're still working and trying to rework the independent officiating body of all of their races based upon the allegations of favoritism from a couple of years ago. It's a conflict of interest, as you would think. So between owning IndyCar, owning the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and fielding a team in the IndyCar Series, yeah, I could see where people might be worried that there's a conflict of interest.
Yep.
So this offseason, the Penske Entertainment Commission commissioned the Independent Officiating Board, which we just talked about. Leader, for all intents and purposes, is Ray Evernham. The latest move now is to put a gentleman by the name of Scott Elkins into the role of Managing Director of Officiating. And what that does is finally fills this role 5 races into the 2026 season. But they didn't do this quickly. IndyCar reportedly was seeking Elkins out specifically. Why him? Well, he brings a wealth of experience to this role. He's worked for most of the well-known racing series that you might have ever heard of, including Formula One. Elkins said of his new role, which he's going to start officially on May the 11th, quote, growing up in Indiana with the Indianapolis 500 as a part of my life for as long as I can remember, I could not be more proud or more motivated to serve this sport. So he's a guy that's got IndyCar in his blood. He has worked in most major racing series, IMSA, Formula One most notably. So he's got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to officiating race series. and he's part of an an independent officiating board, which means he doesn't have to answer to the captain, Roger Penske, or anybody that's involved with Penske Entertainment. He can go, this is right, this is wrong, and make the ruling.
And that's what that needs.
Absolutely, it is.
And you say IMSA, it was funny this morning as we do this on the Thursday. I spotted an IMSA hauler, an IMSA series hauler that was getting off of I-20 going to Talladega.
Interesting to note.
It was a IMSA branded series hauler.
Okay.
So that's
be interested to see what that does.
Eyebrow raised to see what's going on with it, why an IMSA hauler would be headed towards Talladega.
Something to watch this weekend.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have a report during the Cross Flags podcast next week.
Maybe so.
Then there's the battle to get the full 33-car field for this year's Indy 500. It's turning into a very uphill battle here because we got about a month before that famed race happens. Able Motorsports has now stepped up. They're going to bring the number up to 32 as the month of April comes to an end. They're going to field their number 51 IndyCar ride, put Jacob Abel in the driver's seat, and if he makes the field, and at this point in time he would, it'll be his first Indy 500 start because he missed the race last year because he got bumped out. As far as Able Motorsports, this is their first time to attempt for the Indy 500 since 2023 when they put R.C. Enerson in the car. He worked with the team to be able to get into that race. Abel was a rookie last year after finishing second in Indy Next points in 2024. He had 3 wins and 3 poles in 2024. And Dale Coyne Racing brought him up to IndyCar for 2025. Not only was he bumped out of the Indy 500 because he didn't qualify on speed, Dale Coyne Racing released him after the season. He's been kind of doing catch as catch can when it comes to rides, but now he's back with the family team.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a chance. And it looks, right now, it looks like he's going to make it in without any problem because he doesn't have to worry about bump day.
Yeah, I mean, and two as well, I'm still waiting to see because supposedly Catherine Legg has got Chevrolet support to get in a car with a Chevrolet team. Who's going to feel it?
The rumor keeps circulating that AJ Foyt Racing is ready to put in another ride, but they haven't committed to it. And would it be with Catherine Legg? Now, the Chevrolet side matches up because AJ Foyt runs Chevrolet.
Yeah.
So it would seem to match up.
That's the question mark. Why wouldn't they? I mean, when she's got Chevrolet saying they're going to support her in the race, and that's basically you've got a Chevrolet engine, and I know you got an extra car to do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Go for it. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This bit of news was interesting, and if you looked very carefully, you might have seen this if you were watching the IndyCar race at the Grand Prix of Long Beach last weekend. Honda has announced that its Acura brand is set to pause, that's their word, not mine, pause their IMSA GTP program at the end of the season. Now, why would you mention the IMSA thing when you're supposed to be talking IndyCar? Trust me, there's a connection. The company says they're reassessing its future in the motorsports world. So what they're going to do with the Acura brand is it's going to begin to appear more and more on the Meyer-Shank Racing IndyCar rides. Meyer-Shank Racing in IMSA has been running the Acura in the GTP program, so this kind of makes sense. Expect both cars, the 60 of Felix Rosenqvist, which, by the way, started sporting the Acura logo just last weekend at the Long Beach Grand Prix, whose title sponsor, by the way, is Acura. And for the Indy 500, the 66 car is also going to sport Acura logos right next to the Honda logo. So this is a placement situation right now for them. I get that.
Sure.
But let's extend this out to the nth degree here for a moment. Honda says they want to reassess their future in the motorsports world. We've heard connections that Honda and NASCAR have talked about maybe Honda joining the NASCAR ranks. So let the Honda to NASCAR rumors begin to swirl up again in what? 3, 2, 1.
It's coming. It's coming. The rumors.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sure they're trying
I don't know whether Honda's coming, but the rumors certainly are.
I'm sure they're trying to carve their path in there since Toyota's been there so long and seeing the success Toyota's having.
Sure.
Being a Japanese automaker.
Yeah.
So it's coming, I fear.
All right. So your Honda Honda Accord, direct competitor to the Toyota Camry.
Yep.
What do you run in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series? You don't have a direct competitor to the Supra, but then again, the Supra that they're running in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series doesn't look a dang thing like a Supra that's on the road.
Civic Type R.
Okay. Would you, if you were Honda, pull the Ridgeline out and put it in the truck series?
I wouldn't. I'd stick to cars.
Okay. Just asking the question.
I'd stick solely to cars.
Okay.
Another thing I seen come out today too for the Indy 500 for from a sponsorship standpoint, that looks like Walmart is dipping in.
Why wouldn't you want to be on the biggest race on the planet?
They're dipping in with the Sam's Club brand on Kyle Kirkwood's car.
Nice. Okay.
The
Congratulations.
black and blue car is pretty sharp.
I bet. I haven't seen it. I'll have to take a look. All right. So we did this for Formula One last hour. Let's do it again. NFL draft starts tonight as we record this on Thursday. Therefore, we can't take calls. Obviously, we'll get back to being able to take calls next week on the show because we'll be live and in studio again. But we did this for Formula One. Let's presume everything is available. Every driver out there in the IndyCar series is available. There are 25 full-time cars right now, but I'll even let you have the Team Prema drivers from last year, 27. If you want to go Indy next, we saw them at Barber not that long ago. Feel free. If your team is an IndyCar team, let's put it that way. Who's your first draft pick?
I'm going to. I'm going to flip the script on this one right here. And my first round pick is going to be a veteran.
Okay.
Because even though this year he's really been snake bit by just bad luck at times, he's still a solid pick. My first round pick is going to be Will Power.
Okay. I like that. I would probably do a veteran. You kind of went second round there, and I'm going to kind of expand on that. I think my second round pick, if he was still on the board once we got there, I would do the same thing, and I might go with like a Scott Dixon, because he would take a mentor role, and he would be able to tell you what's right and what's wrong with your car because he knows winners and losers. Mm-hmm. But my first round pick, I have a hard time overlooking Alex Palou.
Oh, yeah.
I have a real hard time. And I know that there are people that are listening right now that cannot stand Alex Palou. And I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I fully understand it. But the performance on the track, we detailed it just a moment ago. Since he joined Chip Ganassi Racing 103 races ago, he's won 22 of them. He's won 20% of all races run since he joined them.
Yep.
The performance on the track speaks just too loud.
Yeah, it really does. It really, really does. Second round.
So now you know that Palou's off the board. Now, you've chosen a veteran, and I've given you the choice to go first. So technically, you could swoop in and take Scott Dixon away from me. But do you want two veterans?
I'm going to go two veterans.
Okay.
My second round pick, I'm going to go probably someone that's more unconventional that you could think of.
Go for it.
But he's sneaky. He can be real sneaky at times. Mm-hmm. Romain Grosjean.
Agreed. Yeah, he hasn't had the outright success, but he is consistent, and the dude knows race cars.
He does.
No doubt about it.
He does.
All right. Let's turn our attention to the straight line guys here, where Chevrolet has been dominating things in Pro Stock Car Division to the point where the NHRA is going to step in. They're going to try to, as they say, even the playing field for the Ford and Dodge entrants specifically. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know whether this is a good idea or not. NHRA stepping in saying that they're going to allow a maximum RPM on the Dodges and the Fords that is 500 RPMs up on what Chevrolet's allowed. Ford and Dodge engine users who also use the matching brand body style, because you can use an engine from one brand and use a body from another. So if you use a Ford engine and you have a Ford Mustang body, or if you have a Dodge engine and you have a Dodge body, you will be allowed to increase your RPM limit to 11,000, whereas the Chevrolet entrants using Chevrolet engines with Chevrolet Camaro branded bodies, they can go limit 10,500. NHRA officials say they want to create a bit more parity because the popularity of the Pro Stock Car Division is growing. They want to avoid too many growing pains, and keep at least 3 engine manufacturers in the division as well to invite not only driver rivalries, but stoking brand rivalries as well. This, to me, seems like a very, very slippery slope to be going down.
Yes, it does.
Because you're artificially limiting this to create this. There was the time when I remember the drivers, and this goes back to my early years of NASCAR, when I was a fan, 79 Daytona 500 and all that.
Right.
And you would hear the drivers talk about going up to Big Bill France and saying, my car, and I'll take the king just because I can. Say the king goes to Richard Petty goes to Big Bill France and goes, hey, my Dodge cannot keep up with the Chevrolets and the Fords and the Oldsmobiles and the Pontiacs and name all the other ones that were running at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Big Bill France looked at him and said, well, you got one of two options. You can either move to one of those brands or you can work with Dodge and make the car better.
As in Bill Jr. would say the same thing too.
In other words, they weren't artificially limiting things.
Yeah,
they were saying, go run the best equipment you can get your hands on, and if it ain't what you're in, go find it.
Go do your homework. Basically, in a nutshell, you go do your homework.
Ford and Dodge, and I understand how they want the parity and they want to try and keep those rivalries going, but at the same time, you're doing this artificially. Mm-hmm. Ford and Dodge engineers need to get their butts on the blueprint sheets and figure out what's going on to where they compete with these Chevrolets on the track by themselves without the artificial limitations.
Yep. Because it's Elite and KB Titan is the main two Chevrolet teams and the main two Chevrolet engine builders. It seems to me that they've been working together and they've found something. They've found something within the engine limitations, the rules limitations of the engine build, to where it pushes it to the max.
Yeah.
And Ford and Dodge hasn't. So it sounded like to me Ford and Dodge just went complaining about it when Chevrolet's done their homework.
Yeah. Go to work, guys. Get it done. And if you don't get the Vice Network, you might have missed a documentary that we talked about some weeks ago here on the big show. It's an NHRA documentary called Chasing Speed. As it turns out, now you can. And all you got to do is go onto YouTube, check out the NHRA page, because as of yesterday, Wednesday of this week, the entire series is available. You can either binge watch it or check it out as you like. 6 episodes, debuted on Vice back in late January, 1 new episode a week, led up to the first race of the 2026 season, the Gator Nationals, down in Florida. Now, what this did was it gave the viewer a chance to kind of get to know some of the personalities in the National Hot Rod Association, learn how they all go kind of searching for speed. Right now, it seems like we're trying to consistently get above, say, 340 miles per hour in top fuel. I'm sure Funny Car would love to get to that angle, and they probably will here not too long from now, because they're not that far off of the speed, for example, of top fuel. How all this kind of creates tension amid the competition, along with some of the behind-the-scenes businesses, kind of how do you lock down drivers, how you watch them move from one team to another. I'm sure I haven't watched this, but that whole Austin Prock situation where he left John Force Racing after winning 2 titles in a row, including last year in Funny Car, and he still left. There had to be some drama there.
Had to be something, no doubt.
I don't know what the heck it was.
I think since we're on this theme that we're on, I think we need to go NHRA, IHRA too.
I'm more than happy to do it. But I look at the clock and I'm saying, maybe we need to take a break. So I'll tell you what, we'll do our draft picks for the National Hot Rod. We'll do our drag racing draft picks. How about that? We'll do our drag racing draft picks right after this.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back. 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Championship Racing Network on the air for this Talladega weekend, pre-recorded edition with Matt and I out at the track this weekend. We just couldn't avoid it, couldn't do it live, so we canned it. But it is a new show. We thank you very much for joining us. When we left off, we were talking about the National Hot Rod Association. Didn't have any IHRA news really specifically to speak of, but Matt wants to kind of expand things out. We want to do the equivalent of, as we record this on this Thursday, tonight is the opening round of the NFL Draft. What if we could do that in a racing form? And we've already done Formula One. We've already done IndyCar. Now we're going to do NHRA. And you kind of want to set some parameters here. For example, my team, Team CRN, is a 3-car top fuel team. Your team would be the same, 3-car top fuel team.
Yep.
But drivers from any division,
Pro Stock, Funny Car, and Top Fuel are fair game.
would you do, and I'm just going to throw it out there because we've seen drivers go from Pro Stock motorcycle into the cars, would you open it up to them as well?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So from any of the top 4 divisions, the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, or if they run IHRA more prevalently, they're available to you as well. Nobody's under contract. You've been the first draft pick so far. I'll let you continue that.
Trying to, well, I don't want to say I'm speaking like Roger Goodell, but
No.
with the first pick on the NHRA side, well, the first pick of the drag racing side of our team draft, I'm going to say JBN Autosport is going to pick someone that is so far pretty popular, and they've got a very high amount of upside to their career already, and they're only in their rookie season. I'm taking Maddie Gordon.
I can't argue with that at all.
I'm taking Maddie Gordon right off the bat.
She has gained such a fan base in such a rapid period of time.
Huge.
It is amazing.
Huge.
I got a hard time arguing that. Real hard time arguing that. And the funny thing is that, you know, I would want to go back and I'd want to choose a Brittany Force, because if you think about how well she qualified over the past few years, and she would claim, you know, a couple of wins a year, but she's put her career on hold, at least for now. She's doing a Leah Pruitt, if you will, and saying, I'm going to take a couple of years off. I'm going to start a family. So she's off the board. Leah Pruitt right now is somebody that I would want to look at, but I'm not really sure I would do a first-round pick on her. And I'm kind of wanting to build this team as well. And if I'm going to go from any different division, I got to go with the guy who we just talked about before we went to break, and that's the guy who left John Force Racing, even though he won 2 championships in a row with him. I'm going to go Austin Prock.
Yep. That Prock is solid. Second round pick, because we have seen many times, I call drag racing in general is the division where you could be ageless and still run.
Sure.
I'm going to put a veteran in my second car.
Okay. You and I are thinking much the same.
A long-term veteran that has multiple championships. I'm going to put Doug Coletta in my second car.
Okay. All right. You and I are thinking both along the same lines here.
Yep.
And again, you picked before me, so you didn't take my pick. If I'm doing round number 2, I'm thinking much the same way. I've got a younger driver. I want a more veteran driver, somebody who's been with probably, you know, any number of owners, teams, crew chiefs, and they have an idea of how the car changes and what's right and what's wrong. I'm going Ron Capps.
That's a very good one, in my opinion.
All right. And that brings us to round number 3. So you have a solid rookie. You have a solid veteran. Mm-hmm. Round number 3.
I'm going to have what I would define as probably I'm going to say a semi-veteran. It's not long-term experience, but it's not short-term experience either.
Okay.
I'm going down to IHRA.
Okay.
My third car, I'm going to put Jasmine Salinas in my third car.
You took my choice.
I'm going to put Jasmine Salinas in my third car.
That's the first time one of us has swiped a choice from the other.
Yep.
I was honestly thinking the exact same thing. And, you know, there's a part of me that wants to put a female in that third car because I like that idea. And there are any number of them that, truth be told, are viable options. Like I said, if Brittany Force had been on the board, I might have taken her first round.
Right.
But since Jasmine Salinas is off the board, I'm still kind of thinking along the lines that I'd like a female in the car. We talked about Ida Zetterstrom on the show last weekend, but I'm not confident enough yet that she has gotten comfortable enough in the NHRA yet. So I have a hard time picking her. So I might have to drop down a little bit more here.
I know where you're going with this.
Could do funny car. I could do pro stock might actually be the better way to go.
If you're dropping, you're going to be pro stock.
Yeah.
Because you got 2 funny car guys already.
Yeah, I do. I mean, yeah, there's a part of me that wants to go Leah Pruitt, because of her experience there. But again, I think I want to go, I don't know whether I want to go too young or not. So there's a weird little balance there. To me, it's almost flip a coin.
If you say not going too young, that's got plenty of experience, but not too young, I think there's only one way you go. And when you say drop lower, there's only one way you go.
Man.
And we'll see if you say it.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, I'm blanking on the name. I can see her face, but I'm blanking on the name.
Erica Enders.
Thank you. Yeah. It's so hard to pass her by.
Very.
The number of championships, the number of races.
Very.
Again, proven on the track. Yeah. Okay. Again, I could think of flipping a coin, but I'm not going to flip the coin. I'm going to say you probably nailed it. I think it'll be Erica Enders.
I'm going to throw in someone that I could call a reserve driver.
Okay.
That could jump in any 1-3 cars, just because of the attitude and determination that he's got, and how he has it full bore. We're laying everything on the line, and what happens is going to happen.
Sure.
My 4th driver would be, if it needed to be for any car, if I'm only limited to 3-time teams, but I can have a 4th driver, I'm going to put Lex June in it.
Yeah, veteran. I like
I'm
it.
going to put Lex June in it.
I might, if I were to do a 4th driver, I would probably do something more on the developmental side, and that's why I went back and I thought, hey, do we want to bring in Pro Stock Motorcycle on this? Because I look at people like Richard Gadsden and Gage Herrera, and I think, man, these guys are talented. Their timing is good. It wouldn't be all that hard to transition from the motorcycle to the car.
No.
So I think it might be one of those two, and just put them in as a developmental and get them set. And in my case, probably take over for on caps in a year, maybe 2.
Yep.
Portions of this show being brought to you by Cat and Bird Winery. This Saturday, today, as we are airing live, they got themselves a crawfish boil going on over at Cat and Bird Winery. So that's kind of a fun thing to do. Plus, there are all kinds of neat things that are going on throughout the course of the week. Coming up, first Thursday of the month, I'll be out there hosting music trivia, as we do the first Thursday of every month out there, play on music trivia. So maybe make your plans to go ahead and do that, especially as the weather warms up. Kids are about ready to get out of school. Now you can be out there on a Thursday night, not have to worry about the kids having to be in school in the morning. Good stuff. Cat and Bird Winery. Check it out. 11661 Old Highway 280 in Chelsea. Look them up on the social medias, Cat and Bird Winery, and make sure you check them out and say hello to Matt and the ladies out there, as we love to do. All right, Cup Series. All right, this Daniel Dye thing. We talked about Daniel Dye on the podcast this week. Crossed flags available to you right now. Getting a ride with Live Fast Motorsports in their number 78 for this weekend at the Jack Links 500. More importantly, and we did talk about this, I'm going to see if your thoughts have changed on this. 41 cars are coming to East Central Alabama for a race where only 40 cars can start. So after qualifying, one team is packing up and they're going home. Let's quickly give you a refresher on the deal here. This deal between Dye and Live Fast is going to see him get 4 races this year to qualify for a Cup Series race by the end of the year. His other 3 chances will be at Pocono in June, Daytona in August, back at Talladega when the Cup Series returns in October. Now, here's your 5 non-chartered cars. Here are the ones that are in danger of having to pack up and go home when all is said and done. And I'm taking them only in numerical order. They're the 33 RCR Chevy for Jesse Love, the 44 NY Racing Chevy for Joey Gase, the 62 Beard Motorsports Chevy with driver Casey Mears, the number 66 Garage 66 Ford for Chad Fincham, and then Dye in the number 78 Live Fast Chevy. So, again, asked you on the podcast, you had an answer. Has that answer changed since the podcast?
No.
And your answer is, who's the most likely, all things being equal, who's the most likely to go home?
The most likely one to go home is probably going to be the 66.
Chad Fincham.
Even though I secretly hope BJ McLeod, love you, buddy. You got a good head on your shoulders, good attitude, and you do things like it needs to be done.
Except you kind of question this particular move.
I question this move because we know it was a bought ride after he got his butt kicked out of the 10 truck. So I guess I can say something like that and I can get a promotion.
Yeah.
I made a crude comment about another driver questioning what type of lifestyle he lives.
Which led to NASCAR suspending him, led to Calic Racing, which was his full-time team in the Truck Series, suspending him. When NASCAR reinstated him,
he basically quit. He quit calling. But it's going to be if weather doesn't interfere, in which now the way it's shaping up, I don't think it may not interfere.
Okay.
And they may be able to get qualifying in successfully. But if they get it in, it's firmly for that last spot. It's going to be between the 66 and the 44.
I can agree with that.
I give the slight edge to the 44, make it in. And I mean a slight edge.
Sure. Yeah, I can understand that. All right. We'll see. And I tend to agree. I agreed with you then. I still agree with you now. There was a part of me that was looking at that 44 just like you did. I think Casey Mears is a very, very good driver, and Beard Motorsports always brings a good bullet. Richard Childress Racing is always good at super speedways. Jesse Love is a great driver. I got no problem with that. Kind of surprised he's not yet in the Cup Series, just to be real honest.
The way RCR was at Daytona for qualifying, I'm not going to go out of the way and say Jesse Love may not be a threat for the pole.
Yeah, could be. So, yeah, 33, 62, got no problem with either one of those. Live Fast is experienced enough at super speedways to build a decent enough car.
Yeah, speed-wise, they'll make it in.
Yeah, but yeah, the weakest of the two, between the two teams, NY Racing itself and Garage 66, I don't really see a whole lot of difference between the two.
No.
It then comes down to the driver, and I give Joey Gase a slight edge over Chad Fincham.
From a super speedway experience, yes.
All right.
I mean, you got to throw, and you got to give credit to it being Talladega week too. You got to give credit to ARCA because ARCA's got a full field too.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's very good because I seen a stat, 2021, I think it's 2021, there were only 21 ARCA cars on the ground.
Wow.
This weekend, there are 41 ARCA cars in it.
Come on, guys.
41.
Love it.
And I kind of like it. I mean, in a way I like it, in a way I don't like it. Because ARCA's not doing any type of qualifying. The top 36 are locked, and that's your starting spot.
Right.
So the other 5 that are not locked, they're going to have their own little mini knockout qualifying session with one car going home.
Right.
That's going to be interesting to watch tomorrow.
It will be a very interesting thing. This is an old argument.
Past old.
Yeah. So we're going to comment on this after I give you the basic. Well, I'm going to give you the whole thing. All right. And we'll do comments when we come back from the break. So ESPN's noted blowhard Stephen A. Smith, who has, let's face it, he's become a lightning rod for controversy due to many of his takes. Now he has caught the attention and, to a certain extent, the wrath of the NASCAR and the golfing world all in one comment. Not only does he do an ESPN show, he also does a show on SiriusXM Satellite Radio's Mad Dog Sports Radio Show channel, where Smith recently asked callers to call in and name some of the best athletes. Now, he immediately went to a guy who I think is personally very, very overrated when it comes to being in the NBA, and that's LeBron James. I congratulate him on his long career. I congratulate him on his records. But I'm sorry, when I think about some of the guys from the past, and I don't care whether you're talking 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, I'm sorry. If you asked me to put an all-time top 5 starting lineup out on the court, LeBron James does not make the starting 5. And I'm not sure he makes the second 5 coming off the bench for me.
Me either.
But anyway, so he holds up LeBron James as this pinnacle of athleticism. Well, one person called in and mentioned the king, Richard Petty. Remember, this is a 7-time Cup Series champion, has 200 Cup Series wins to his name in his Hall of Fame career. Think about the accomplishments of this guy. Think about the conditions he did it in.
Yep, absolutely.
And then listen to Smith, who dismissed the thought outright, said that the nominees for this category needed to be actual athletes, and said that race car drivers and golfers need not apply. He said this, and I'm not going to try and do an imitation. I'm just going to quote him.
Come on, man. That don't count.
You driving a car. I'm being honest. It's a great sport, but come on, bro. Getting behind the wheel of a car is not the same. You can be behind the wheel of a car in your 60s and 70s, for crying out loud. A golfer's not an athlete. A NASCAR driver's not an athlete. Just because you got to walk the course for 18 holes over 4 days doesn't mean that you're an athlete. They're skilled players. They're elite at what they do. But athletes? Are you kidding me? And then he wrapped it up by squarely, if he hadn't already done so, squarely sticking his foot right in his mouth. And this is where Matt and I will pick things up when we take our break. Says this, quote, if you're out there doing stuff that grandmas and grandpas can do, I'm not going to look at you that way. You're skilled. You're phenomenally skilled as a golfer, but that's not an athletic sport. So this caught the attention of the NASCAR world, as I said, and there are a couple of challenges laid out there.
Quickly.
But you and I are also going to go into this, but we need to take a break, our final break of this edition of CRN.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. Two tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Final segment of today's edition of CRN, talking about Stephen A. Smith, who has basically said if you're a NASCAR driver or a golfer, you are not an athlete, and he doesn't consider you to be able to be eligible amongst the best in the world. His words, if you are in your 60s or 70s, you cannot do it. Golfer's not an athlete. NASCAR driver's not an athlete, because let's face it, if your grandma and grandpa can do it, anybody can. This is, for me, the same situation that immediately made another noted ESPN personality by the name of Max Kellerman immediately persona non grata. He said, driving at Daytona, was specifically talking about the Daytona 500, that he does that every day in New York City traffic. No, you don't.
No, sir.
Yeah, there's one comparison that you can make between a Daytona 500 and driving in New York City rush hour traffic. You have a car in front of you, you got a car behind you, you got a car to your left, you got a car to your right, and you're all going at about the same speed, which is approximately 0.
Pretty much.
Now do yourself a favor. Put all those cars that are all around you and doing 0 miles per hour on the Long Island Expressway, or whatever the heck you want to call it, and put them at Daytona doing 200 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And tell me, Stephen A. Smith, can your 60 or 70-year-old grandma and grandpa do that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
On top of that, we talked about the conditions. Bobby Allison, when, head member of the Alabama gang, with all due respect to all the other members, but he is the most visible member of the Alabama gang. Let's just put it that way.
Yep.
He was well known for, in the heat of the summer in the state of Alabama, where we're talking 90 plus degrees, maybe 100 plus degrees outside, and probably about 100% humidity.
Probably.
He would get in his car and drive from Hueytown to wherever he was driving to with the heat on full blast.
Conditioning.
Why would you do that?
Conditioning.
Tell me about it. You're the resident driver. What's the conditions he's dealing with even then? And then now, what these drivers are dealing with inside the car at speed at a Talladega, at a Daytona, or wherever.
Well, see, what he needs to look at is, and I know they're buddies, his boy Darrell Wallace Jr., better known as Bubba. I know they're buddies. They've talked before, and I've seen them on shows with each other. So let Bubba get him somewhere where he can look at a Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, and all the way up to a Gen 7 car.
Okay.
Heck, even go back to a Gen 3.
Sure, why not?
Look at how the seating has evolved in cars and how safety stuff is involved.
Oh,
he's
God,
probably thinking, well, you got these seats that's got this 4 or 5 inch pads around them. It's like sitting in a lazy boy. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. No, not even close. I can attest to that.
Well, I can to a certain extent because you and I both did the driving experiences. And no, I'm not doing the speeds that those guys are going to be doing this coming Sunday.
No.
But I got a pretty good feel for how these cars ride and drive.
Back in those days, especially with Richard Petty, there's one key thing that was missing that made you have to manhandle a car, and that's called power steering.
Bingo.
No power steering. You're having to hustle let's dub the number down even, a 3,500 pound car. No power steering. In all conditions. February, it may be colder if you're running in North Carolina or something, all the way to if you're running in the summer months in Texas.
Yeah, which they did.
Texas World Speedway, they did.
Back then, Talladega ran in July.
In July. I remember seeing schedules that Talladega would run in July and early July, late August. As I heard Dave Moody say at Texas one time when I went to the All-Star race, it's hotter than hell's doorknob.
There you go.
Talladega in the summertime is hotter than hell's doorknob.
Bingo.
Okay? You got to encounter G-forces. You got to encounter physical exertion and everything inside of an enclosed area where the only air aspect you got coming onto your body is through a helmet hose that's got a deflector in front of the visor that deflects the air across your face to keep you cool from sweating.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to not have anything going directly into your eyes.
And not having nothing directly in your eyes. And all they had back in that day was a pair of goggles.
Right.
Everything else was blasting them in the face. And if your goggles wasn't tight, you was getting sandblasted in your eyes too.
Sure. Absolutely.
But from the heat standpoint, it's like basically sitting in a sauna for 4 hours. 4.5 hours.
Because you're talking temperatures, especially now in these cars, which are so aerodynamic that, again, the only way you're getting any air in there is via a vent.
Yeah.
You're talking temperatures in there 120 plus, 130 plus?
130, 135, 130, 135.
So this brought about a couple of challenges. Front Row Motorsports levied a challenge directly to Smith, reportedly delivered straight to his Instagram account. Quote, Stephen A., what's going on, my man? We've heard that absolutely preposterous take of yours claiming NASCAR drivers on athletes, and quite frankly, we're stunned. Stunned. So here's what we're going to do. We're inviting you to step out of that studio, hop in a ride-along with one of our 3 Cup Series drivers. Then you can tell the world how not athletic it feels going 180 miles per hour, pulling G-forces, and fighting that wheel for 3 straight hours. We'll be waiting. That's Front Row. Cup champion Kurt Busch chimed in after that. It's a little shorter, a little bit sweeter. I say sweeter, I use that term very, very loosely. When he posted on social media, quote, let's go, Cupcake. I love that. I'll personally drive you around a NASCAR track for 30 minutes or when you pass out on lap 30.
I will take Kurt Busch's route.
I like Kurt Busch's route. But the truth of the matter is either one of them is a massive challenge laid down to Stephen A. Smith. Go down and experience this for yourself.
It needs to be done twice. Front Row needs to do it at one track, and Kurt Busch needs to do it at the other track.
I think it'd be funny as heck.
Take Kurt Busch and let him. I'll tell you what, I'll go one step further. Get 5 cars out there. Let Kurt Busch drive 1 car and have the 2-seater in there, full safety measures as your driver compartment would have.
Sure, absolutely.
Lock him in that seat to where he cannot move, unrestricted.
Yeah, and go to town.
Front Row needs to do the same thing. I'd say because the way the roll cages and the cockpits are, do it at Talladega.
Yeah.
Do it at Talladega in an O'Reilly Auto Parts car.
Go for it.
Let Front Row set up a Cup car, however they can, at Bristol.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I like
Bristol.
it. You and I have done 2 driving experiences, and you're the resident driver. You had a better idea of kind of knowing what to expect.
Yeah, we've done 2 at the same time. I've done it 5 times.
Yeah. You and I did 2 at the same time. The first one was at Talladega, and we bought the lowest package, which meant 5 laps and restricted. It took no time, and it took me very, very little time to figure out exactly where to get to the point where I wasn't hitting the chip, but I was very, very close to the edge. And that meant, and I've got the certificate that shows it, I was averaging over 150 miles per hour for a lap.
You was at 152, I think. And I think I was at like 156, 157.
Whatever it was.
Something like that.
But once you get to that point, and, you know, that driving experience, you got a guy that's on the radio, and he's telling you, you know, that's a good line, whatever. I kind of tuned him out about lap 3 and started to think, okay, I'm in the middle lane here at Talladega. I'm about midway up on the banking here in turns 1 and 2. And I started to imagine just for a second being in the middle of a pack of 30. I think I just put the number at 30, saying, okay, we're going to have stragglers back there. So I put myself in the middle of a pack, cars to the left and cars to the right, cars in front and behind me. And I stopped and thought about this. If I'm doing 40 miles per hour faster than what I'm doing, and the work that I'm putting in now, and when I got out of that car, I was sweating. That gray t-shirt had some really dark gray spots on it. I was sweating. I can only imagine doing that over the course of 188 laps as opposed to 5 at 40 miles per hour faster than what I was doing.
Yep.
And then we went to Atlanta, and I'll tell you right now, I did not have the time to stop and think, what about if I were in the middle of a pack of 30 cars? Because Atlanta is actually a little bit more difficult. Plus, the company that we ran with, we weren't restricted.
Yeah, those cars were significantly quicker.
We still did the same 5-lap package.
No, we did 10 laps.
10-lap package. Oh, sorry.
10 laps.
We did a 10-lap package there, but again, engines unrestricted. Now, you would have kicked my ass. I can tell you that right now, because you were faster. But I can tell you right now, the one lap that you and I looked at, we kind of looked at it and basically timed it out. I was still doing, what was it, north of 165-ish?
I think it was. I think when we calculated it out, because you remember we talked to that guy afterwards, and he looked at me. He said, "I've never had my flagman go over the side, just lean over the side of the flagman and give you a slow down look."
Right.
I'm
Which
like,
you looked at him and said, "Heck with you."
Yeah, because when I come out of turn 4 and I seen him leaning over and I hit the first dog leg in Atlanta, I went,
"Yeah, see ya. I'm having too much fun."
Nah, I don't think so, buddy. He said at the time, now it may have changed, it may not have changed. He said, but at the time, while we've been doing this driving school over here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, better known as Echo Park,
Right.
I by far had the track record.
There you go.
I think yours was about 0.3 off of mine.
All right.
He said it was about 0.3 difference. I said, yeah, because I caught him off of turn 2, and I'm thinking, make a move, Wes, make a move, do something.
Well, the funny thing was when you caught me, I already had gotten the white flag.
Yeah.
Or the checkered flag.
Yeah,
so I
you
knew I was
went
going
out
to
2
have
laps
to go.
before me.
But the funny thing is that they were taking out, and to begin with, you have a guy who goes out on the track with you. He's sitting in the passenger seat of this car, and he's saying, okay, make sure that you're on this. He wants to make sure you're comfortable in the car.
Right.
Well,
right.
I catch up to him on my checkered flag lap, and as I start to pull down, he's pulled down, and he's telling me go. Mm-hmm. And I looked, but I didn't quite see you, so you were just out of the vision in my mirror. So when I pulled back up, unfortunately, I cut you off, and I apologize for that. So I did get an extra lap out of it, thanks. But in just the whole thought about it, yeah, you were going to be faster than me. I knew you were going to be faster than me. What I wanted was for us to go out on the track at the same time, you just in front of me, and I wanted to see if I could keep up with you. But I can pretty much tell you right now, I probably couldn't have, because I had not figured out turns 1 and 2. But I stop and I think about it then, and you're doing 400 miles around an Atlanta Motor Speedway at what I was doing, which is about, in this case, 25 to 30 miles per hour slower than what the Cup Series cars are doing there.
Right.
And I think about how tired I was after that session. And then you expand it out to the number of laps and miles that they're doing.
267.
Stephen A. Smith hasn't got a clue.
I tell you what, ESPN sent him to Echo Park Speedway when the Buck Baker driving school was down there.
Yeah.
Let me put him in a car and let me put it on the floor and
there
go.
You go.
Because when I figured it out, I went, okay, this ain't so bad. This is a little more fun than Talladega is.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's the truth.
Well,
Atlanta was more fun than Talladega was.
I agree. I actually do agree.
Because once I figured out that little oomph going into turn 1 where the car unloaded,
which
and I went
unfortunately
below
I never
it.
did figure out.
And when I went below it, I'm like, okay, we can stay in it now.
Yep.
So
all right. So that brings us back to our NFL draft comparison here. Cup Series. your first round pick. Everybody's available to you. Cup Series, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Truck Series. Who's your first round draft pick?
Corey Heim.
Not a surprise at all.
Corey Heim.
Because I'll be honest with you, I was looking squarely at him as well. You want to talk about one guy who we just cannot believe doesn't have a full-time ride. And if he's not guaranteed to get into a car next year at one of the Toyota camps, the Chevrolet and the Ford guys better be on the phone to his agent saying, hey, listen, call us. If you ain't got a ride by X date, call us. We'll get you a ride.
Yep.
Corey Heim's got to be the guy.
Yep.
But since you've taken him off the board, I'm probably going to take a veteran on the first one. I'll go ahead and state that right up front. And I'll take probably one of the most talented drivers, not just NASCAR driver, but drivers that is on the circuit right now. And I'm going to go Kyle Larson.
That's a no harm, no foul pick right there.
Yeah. I mean, the dude can get in the car and drive anything, anywhere. He's good at just about every kind of track there is. Can he overdrive the car and get himself in trouble? Sure. So can every driver. But Kyle Larson knows how to take it to the edge. That's who I'm going to go.
He does.
All right. How many drivers do you want to take?
We can go two.
You want to go two? Okay. Your two-car team, who's your second choice?
My two-car team, I'm going with a veteran, and this one, to me, is a no-brainer. Denny Hamlin.
Hard to argue that. How much longer he's got in the series, good question, but you consider probably you're not going to stop at just owning a Cup Series team. You're going to want to expand out and have a developmental side with an O'Reilly and or a Trucks team.
But I have a solid, very, very, very solid reserve/alternate driver.
If I don't pick him in my second round.
Yeah. You more than likely won't, because my reserve alternate driver comes out of O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Okay, yeah, then you're right. I wouldn't. The guy who I'm actually going to choose second is also a Cup Series driver, and he also comes from the Chevrolet camp. He's a little bit rough around the edges, but I like what I'm seeing out of Carson Hocevar.
Yep. I can't argue with that either.
All right. So who would be your reserve driver or your lower series driver?
My reserve driver is going to be Taylor Gray.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Very much so.
My reserve is going to be Taylor Gray.
Man, I would sit there. The first thing that I would do is I would look over there at like either Junior Motorsports or maybe Joe Gibbs and see who they've got.
Yep.
And Justin Allgaier is really, really tempting because of what he's been able to accomplish.
Yep.
But then I start looking around and I think about guys who are just now starting to kind of get it, and a guy who really has not been all that bad. Might have a hard time not going Sheldon Creed. He's not quite Cup
Legit.
Series ready yet, but he certainly knows what he's doing in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Yeah, he legit pick for sure.
All right.
Very legit.
Quick couple of notes here before we go. Craftsman Truck Series notes. Nice Motorsports going to give another Cars Tour veteran a chance to drive in the Truck Series. Nice pulling 20-year-old Donovan Strauss, Mooresville, North Carolina native, came up through the Bandoleros, U.S. Legends, on up into late model stockers. Now he's in the Cars Tour just last year, 5 top 10s in the Cars Tour, finished 9th in the final standings. He'll get the chance to drive the number 4 Chevy truck for Nice when they head to North Wilkesboro in mid-July. Good call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, be very, very, very solid.
All right. And not that Shane Van Gisbergen needs the extra time behind the wheel on a road course. Remember, he won 5 of the 6 road course races last year. But he is going to get some extra seat time. He'll jump into that same Nice Motorsports number 4 Chevy truck when they head to Watkins Glen International here in a couple of weeks, May the 8th. He'll be joined by fellow Cup Series moonlighter Ross Chastain. He'll drive another Nice Motorsports truck that same race. The thing about this is, you look at it and you start to realize something. This is less about giving them extra seat time. This is about Nice Motorsports. Nice Motorsports has 9 victories in the Craftsman Truck Series to their credit. Not a one of them is on a road course. Put SVG in there. Ross Chastain's no slouch at a road course either. And you got a really good chance to walk away with your first ever as a company road course win. Very
much so, but when it comes out later when it came out late this afternoon, as we record this, that Spire is going to put Connor Zillich in the 71 at Watkins Glen.
Why am I not surprised?
Why are you not surprised by that one right there? So we're going to have more than likely a solid dogfight there again.
Truck Series race at Watkins Glen, going to be one to watch. Talladega weekend tickets are available for the races today. ARCA Menard Series race today, and then the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I believe still a few tickets available for the Sunday Jack Links 500 for the Cup Series. Hope you get the chance to come on out. If you don't worry about it. We'll talk about it all. We've got Cross Flags coming up on Tuesday, and of course, we'll be back live in studio ready to take your phone calls as well when we come back and do a live edition in studio of the next edition of CRN 1 week from today. Thank you very much for checking it out. Thanks to AJ. Thanks to producer John for all of their help. And we'll talk to you next week.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.